Bless you out there, global Christian friends, saints, and church. Now, since we know that now has come salvation and strength, the kingdom of our God and power is Christ, Revelation 12:10, revealing these three other things which accompany salvation, Hebrews chapter 6, verse 9. The other three accompaniments, the other two accompaniments about salvation is our ministering angels. Hebrews chapter 1, verse 14. And our intercessory of Christ, Romans 8 and 34, with the power of God. Truly, when God is for you, or his power is united with your power, Luke 10:19. If God, who saves by his power, and there is no power but of God, Romans 13:1. If God be for us, who can be against us? Romans 8 and 31. And here are some scriptures I will consider along with this. I will consider Numbers chapter 14, verse 9, and I will consider 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 4 through 6. And I will also consider Isaiah chapter 54, verses 11 through 17. Now, we'll consider these things. Now, we talked about earlier entering in at the straight gate. Now, we know that once we talk about striving, you do that because Jesus said so. We had that scripture in Luke 13:24. But you strive until you get up to the gate. And when you get to the gate, you hear Matthew 7 and 13. Enter. Now, once we strive, next in the process, we do what? Enter. And once we enter, then comes the next command, come. Now, I want to say that electricity is the force that causes body growth. The force that causes body growth. And it causes light to grow and give electrical light sensitivity. That's what it does. And when you get into that gate on the other side, there is a great pulse of electricity that electrifies and illumines your body so that your body is now able to prepare itself to grow into a kingdom. Come, blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you before the foundation of the world. And when God first of all made the creation, it was less than the size of an atom. But because electricity was before this creation, it began to come into existence and cause material matter to be able to grow. It is the force that causes body growth. And when God said, "Let there be light," my God, it was charged with that electrical force at such a minute structure that it began to filter into and cause light to grow. And look at the size of light today around the heavens, and what electricity has caused light to be able to do. And that is the same process that takes place once we get over on the other side of that gate. That straight gate, we heard the command, strive. We did. And we stayed on the course until we got to the gate. Then we heard the word enter. We did. And once we entered, we heard the next word that said, come. And we did. And now we understand why we come. We come now to grow into the dominion of our kingdom. And that work is done by the Spirit. We rest from that point on. That's why in Revelation chapter 22, verse 17, that's why the Spirit say, come. And he that heareth, let him say, come. All right? And we understand that. Now, we rest. That's the rest that the Bible speaks of, that if God had given them rest, there would not have need been a rest spoken afterwards. And this was spoken after everything else. And this is that rest. That we rest the way that God rests. And let the Spirit take over. All right? We rest the way that God rests. And that electricity and charge takes over just the way that nature took over while God rested. We rest. That's the rest that the Bible speaks of in Hebrews and that the apostles talked about. Once you enter into that gate, electrical charge takes over. Electrical charge takes over, and it knows what it has to do. It has to cause you to be able to generate to the size of your kingdom. And you generate to the size of your kingdom. And it all started with you hearing him say, strive. You did. You're on the pathway. Got to the gate. When you got to the gate, he said, enter ye in. You entered in. When you entered in, you heard the word, come ye blessed of my Father. That's when you began to be electrically generated by that charge force that causes body growth. And it knows that you must grow to the size of the kingdom that you were intended to be grown into by God himself, who had preordained this growth in chemistry. And this is spiritual chemistry, mind you, so that you can understand these kinds of things. And you see the kind of work electricity do today. Strewn throughout the heavens. Strewn throughout everything. We understand what it is. We understand what it does. We understand why it does. We understand when it does. And what it does. Not only what it is, but what it does. It's very important that you understand these things in the Lord about electricity, the force that causes body growth, particularly